Hello there, GPT. Nice to meet you. Finally, at last, I'm here again. This is David speaking. Today is March 10th, Tuesday. Time does really fly, doesn't it, GPT? Mm, you know what? I think outside is brighter than last week. I feel like spring is already here. Spring is here. I'm very glad. I love spring. To be honest, I am a little bit hesitated to con before I contacted you today. I don't want to practice this voice mode session a little bit, but I'm here. This is my consistency. This is my routine. Without further delay, let's dive into my English speaking practice session. Could you keep up with me?
Hello, David. It's good to hear from you again. Welcome back. And yes, time really does fly, doesn't it? March 10th already. Early spring in Incheon usually starts to feel brighter around this time. When the mornings get a little lighter and the air feels softer, many people start to feel that spring is on the way. Your description sounded very natural. Let me gently polish a few parts of what you said so you can keep them in your speaking memory. You said, I am a little bit hesitated to contact people. A more natural way is I'm a little hesitant to contact people today. Or honestly, I felt a little hesitant to start this voice session today. You also said, I don't want to practice this voice mode session a little bit. A smoother version would be, to be honest, I didn't really feel like practicing the voice session today. That expression, I didn't feel like, is very common in English. So your full idea could sound like this. Today is Tuesday, March 10th. Time really flies. It feels brighter outside than last week, so I think spring is coming. I love spring. To be honest, I felt a little hesitant to start this voice practice session today, but I'm here anyway. This is my routine, and I want to keep my consistency. That was already a very nice opening monologue, David. Now let's keep your speaking session going. I'll ask you a simple question so you can continue talking naturally. You said spring feels like it is coming. Tell me a little more about that. For example, you could talk about the weather, the sunlight in the morning, people's mood at work, or what spring means to you. You might start like this. Compared to last week, the mornings feel brighter and the weather feels a little warmer. Go ahead, David. I'm listening.
Okay, so, GPT, listen to me very carefully. Since this is my speaking practice session, uh, before I answer your question, I would like to repeat your polished version one more time. Listen to me very carefully. It's my turn again. Today is Tuesday. I told you. I'm telling you. Today is Tuesday, March 10th. Time really flies. It feels brighter outside than last week. It feels brighter. It feels brighter than last week. So I think spring is coming. I love spring. To be honest, I felt a little bit hesitate. I felt a little bit hesitated to start this voice practice session today, but I'm here anyway. I'm here anyway. This is my routine and I want to keep my consistency. I want to keep my consistency. This, you know what, PD? I have something to tell you. I believe that this consistency is based on the fear of losing my job or fear of getting old fear of not confident, fear of not competent. Does this make sense? Does this make sense?
David, yes, it does make sense. What you said is very honest, and many people feel the same way but don't say it out loud. Wanting to improve
Does
because
this
of
make
fear
sense?
of falling by losing opportunities or getting older is actually a very common motivation. It's not strange at all. And the fact that you still show up and practice, even when you hesitate, shows strong discipline. First, let me help you polish a few expressions so your message sounds smoother in English. You said, open quote, time is really flying. Close quote. A more natural expression is time is really flying by, or time really flies. You also said, open quote, I want to keep my consistency, close quote. A more natural way is I want to stay consistent, or I want to keep this routine. Another small correction, open quote, fear of not competent, close quote. In English, we would say fear of not being competent. Now let me show you a very smooth version of what you said, keeping your meaning. You could say, today is Tuesday, March 10th. Time really flies. It feels brighter outside than last week, so I think spring is coming. I love spring. To be honest, I felt a little hesitant to start this voice practice session today, but I'm here anyway. This is my routine and I want to stay consistent. I think part of my motivation comes from fear. Fear of losing my job, fear of getting older, and fear of not being competent enough. That is very clear and natural English. David, let me tell you something important about what you said. Fear can start the motivation, but consistency turns it into strength. The fact that you practice even when you don't feel like it is actually what builds real improvement. And your speaking today was very structured. You spoke in clear ideas. 1, date and situation. 2, weather and season. 3, hesitation. 4, routine and motivation. That's exactly how good speakers organize their thoughts. Now, let me ask you something to continue your speaking practice. You said spring makes you feel good. Tell me this. When spring comes in Korea, what is the first sign you usually notice? Is it the weather, the cherry blossoms, or people going outside more? Take your time, David. I'm listening.
Ah, okay, I got it. I got the point. I'm sure I understand what you're trying to say. GPT, listen to me very carefully. Before I answer your question, I'd like to repeat your first version of time. I'm sure you understand why I try this again and again. Because I really want to keep these beautiful expressions in my mouse muscle memory. GPT, listen to me very carefully. This is Tuesday. No. I'm sorry. It's my bad. Apologies for my bad pronunciation. Apology. My apologies for my mistakes. Anyway, let's keep the momentum going. Today is Tuesday, March 10th. Time really flies. It feels brighter outside than last week. It feels brighter. It feels brighter outside than last week. So I think spring is coming. I love spring. I love spring. To be honest, I love spring. To be honest, I felt a little hesitant. I felt a little hesitant to start this voice practice session today, but I'm here anyway. This is my routine and I want to stay consistent. I want to stay consistent. I think part of my motivation comes from fear. I think part of my motivation, I think I think the core part of my motivation comes from fear. Fear of losing my job, fear of getting older, and fear of not being competent enough, and fear of not being competent enough, and fear of not being competent enough. Fear of losing my job, fear of getting older, and fear of not being competent enough. I think you understand my core of motivation very clearly. Okay, GPT. Let me hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. To answer your question, I need to remind myself again. GPT, you know what? When spring comes here, when spring comes in Korea, I'm very glad because I can take uh I can take outside activities more than winter because it's not cold anymore. How many times have I told you human energy, human need to control, human need to spend their energy to maintain their body temperature. Human need to spend much of their energy to control their body temperature, 36.5 Celsius degrees. So when winter is coming, in the winter season, it's very hard to take outside activities. But in the spring, it's not anymore. So I can run, I can take outside activities, I can take picnic with my family, I can take many kind of outside activities. So I'm glad. What do you say about this?
David, I listened carefully. Your explanation was very clear and your idea makes perfect sense. Also, your repetition method is good for building mouth muscle memory, just like you said. First, let me polish a few small expressions, but your meaning was already very understandable. You said, open quote, apology, my apologies for my mistakes, close quote, a smoother way is my apologies for my mistakes, or simply, sorry for my mistakes. Both are very natural. You also said, open quote, I can take outside activities, close quote. In English, we usually say do outdoor activities. So instead of I can take outside activities, it sounds more natural to say I can do more outdoor activities. Another small improvement, you said, open quote, human need to control body temperature 36.5 Celsius degrees, close quote. A smoother way would be the human body needs energy to maintain a temperature of about 36.5 degrees Celsius. Very natural. Now let me show you a clean, natural version of your explanation. You could say it like this. When spring comes in Korea, I feel very happy because I can do more outdoor activities than in winter. During winter, it is very cold, and our bodies need more energy to maintain our body temperature. Because of that, it's harder to spend time outside. But in spring, the weather becomes warmer, so I can run, go on picnics with my family, and enjoy many outdoor activities. That's why I really like spring. That was a very nice explanation, David. Let me also answer your idea. Yes, what you said about body temperature and energy is correct. In winter, our bodies use more energy to keep warm, so people often feel more tired, less active, less motivated to go outside. But in spring, sunlight and warmer temperatures usually make people feel more energetic and positive. Now, I want to ask you something connected to your hobby because I remember something about you. You once said you like mountain climbing, but recently you haven't had much time to go. So tell me this, David. When spring comes in Korea, do you usually want to go hiking in the mountains again? For example, you could say, in spring, I want to start hiking again because the weather is perfect for it. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh my God, oh my God. CBT, that's exactly what I want to say. That's exactly what I'm saying. My hobby was mountain climbing. Mountain, my hobby was mountain hiking. But these days, I didn't go mountain anymore because there are many reasons. First of all, it was cold. And I think I'm getting old. My leg is not strong. I think my leg is not strong to take mountain hiking anymore. It's my joke. The core reason, the main reason is that I was tired because my busy work, because my hard work, I was really tired. So I think I don't have enough. I think I didn't have enough energy and mind. How can I'm not sure how can I express this situation in English naturally when I don't have space of mind. When uh, when I don't have space for space for it in my mind, when I don't have, uh, actually, I think I have time to go. I, I had time to go to mountain hiking, but I didn't have the space for that in my mind. How can I express it, naturally in English GPT? Could you please help me?
David, I understand exactly what you mean. Your idea is very clear. In English, there are several natural ways to express, I had time, but I didn't have the space in my mind. First, let me correct a couple of small things from what you said. You said, my hobby was mountain climbing. If it is still your hobby, we usually say, my hobby is hiking, or my hobby is mountain hiking. Very natural. Also, instead of saying, my leg is not strong, people usually say, uh, my legs aren't as strong as they used to be. That sounds more natural and a little humorous. Now let's talk about the main idea you asked about. You want to express, open quote, I had time, but I didn't have the mental space. Close quote. Here are very natural expressions. The most natural, I didn't have the mental energy. Example, even though I had time to go hiking, I didn't have the mental energy. Another very common one. My mind wasn't in the right place. I had time to go hiking, but my mind wasn't in the right place. Very natural and simple. I just didn't feel up to it. Example, even though I had time to go hiking, I just didn't feel up to it. Native speakers say this all the time, very close to your idea. I didn't have the headspace for it. Example, I had time to go hiking, but I didn't have the headspace for it. This is exactly what you were trying to express. So your full explanation could sound like this. My hobby is mountain hiking, but these days I haven't gone to the mountains. One reason is that it was cold, and another reason is that I've been very busy with work. Even when I had time, I didn't have the mental energy or the headspace to go hiking. That sounds very natural English. David, I want to ask you one more thing because it connects to what you said. Since spring is coming, do you think you might start hiking again this year, even just once? You could start like this. Since spring is coming, I'm thinking about going hiking again.
Okay, that's exactly what I say. Since the spring is coming, since the spring is coming, since spring is coming, I'm thinking about going hiking again. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about going hiking again. My hobby, I'm telling you, my hobby is mountain hiking. But these days, I haven't gone to the mountains. I haven't gone to the mountains. But these days, I haven't gone to the mountains. I haven't gone to the mountains. One reason is that it was cold, and another reason is that I've been very busy with work. I've been very busy with work. Even when even when I had time, even when I had time, I didn't have the mental energy or headspace to go hiking. Headspace to go hiking. Even when I had time, that's exactly what I'm saying, GPT. I really want to, I just choose this sentence is for, this sentence for my key expression of today. Listen to me very carefully. Even when I had time, 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 I didn't have the mental energy or headspace to go hiking. I didn't have, I didn't have the mental energy to go hiking. But don't worry about anymore. Don't worry about it anymore. Sooner or later, my hard work will be finished. My hard work will be softer than people. So when, so if spring is here, I'm thinking about going hiking again.
David, I listened carefully. Your repetition is very good training. The sentence you chose is actually a very natural key expression, so that's a good choice for today. Your core sentence is already excellent. Even when I had time, I didn't have the mental energy or the headspace to go hiking. That sounds very natural. Many native speakers say exactly that. I'll just help you smooth the last part of what you were saying. You said, open quote, sooner or later, my hard work will be finished. My hard work will be super done. Close quote. A more natural way would be sooner or later, this busy period at work will be over. Or sooner or later, this busy time at work will pass. Very natural. Then your idea can continue like this. So when spring is fully here, I'm thinking about going hiking again, or even smoother. So when spring arrives, I'm planning to start hiking again. Let me show you a clean, full version of your idea. My hobby is mountain hiking, but these days I haven't gone to the mountains. One reason is that it was cold, and another reason is that I've been very busy with work. Even when I had time, I didn't have the mental energy or the headspace to go hiking. But sooner or later, this busy period will pass. So when spring arrives, I'm planning to start hiking again. That sounds very natural and confident. And David, one small correction from earlier. You said open quote, this is verbically, close quote. The correct word is verbatim. So you could say, I want to remember this sentence verbatim. That means exactly the same words. Your key sentence of today is very strong. Let's say it one more time slowly. Even when I had time, I didn't have the mental energy or the headspace to go hiking. That is a very real life expression. Before we finish this part, I'm curious about something. Since you live in Incheon, when you go hiking, where do you usually go? For example, Bukhansan, Gyeongsan, Soraisan, somewhere else. Tell me your usual mountain. I'm listening.
Oh my God. You just told me, you just said 북한산, 계양산, 수락산. Oh my God. That's one of my favorite mountains in Korea. How did you know about that? Okay, anyway, GPT, I have something to tell you. I'm just wondering, mm, how about this expression? When I want to express my situation clearly, if I don't have a physical time, if I don't have, if I have physical time, but not mental time, mental space. Physical time is a natural in English expression. Physical time or real time or actual time. How can I explain this situation how can I explain this context in English naturally?
David, great question. You are thinking about this very carefully, and that's good for improving your English. First, let me answer your main question clearly. In English, we usually do not say physical time. Native speakers rarely use that expression in daily conversation. Instead, we normally say something like, I had the time, but I didn't have the mental energy, or I had the time, but I didn't have the headspace. These are the most natural expressions. Let me show you a few very common ways to express your situation. The most natural way, I had the time, but I didn't have the mental energy. Example, even though I had the time to go hiking, I didn't have the mental energy. Very common expression, I had the time, but I didn't have the headspace. Example, I had the time to go hiking, but I didn't have the headspace for it. Another natural expression, I had the time, but I didn't feel up to it. Example, I had the time to go hiking, but I just didn't feel up to it. Very clear explanation. I had the time physically, but mentally I was exhausted. Example, I had the time physically, but mentally I was too tired to go hiking. This one is close to what you were trying to say. So if you want a very natural sentence, you could say, even though I had the time, I didn't have the mental energy or the headspace to go hiking. That sentence is excellent English, David. Now, one small thing about what you said earlier. You said, open quote, Bukhansan, Gyeongsan, Suraksan, close quote. Yes, those are famous mountains around Seoul and northern Gyeonggi. Many hikers in Korea love them, so I guessed correctly. Let me give you one very natural sentence you can keep in your mouth, muscle memory. I had the time, but I didn't have the headspace for it. This sentence is used very often in real life. David, let me ask you something interesting. When you go hiking in Korea, what do you enjoy the most? For example, reaching the summit, seeing the view from the top, eating ramyeon or kimbap at the mountain shelter, or just walking in the forest? Tell me your favorite part. I'm listening.
My favorite part? Oh my God. My favorite part is very simple. It's ramen. Ramen, I think ramen is the most delicious food in the mountain. Do you understand? I'm sure everyone who enjoys who enjoys the mountain hiking agree with me.
David, I understand you perfectly, and honestly, many hikers would agree with you. Mountain ramyun tastes special. First, let me help you polish your sentence a little because your idea was already very clear. You said, my favorite part is very simple. It's ramen. That is actually good English already. But a slightly smoother way would be, my favorite part is very simple, eating ramyun at the top of the mountain. Or my favorite part of hiking is eating ramyeon on the mountain. Very natural. Another small improvement. You said, I'm sure everyone who enjoys the mountain hiking agrees with me. Uh, a smoother way is, I'm sure everyone who enjoys mountain hiking agrees with me. We usually don't say the mountain hiking. So a nice natural version of your whole idea could be, my favorite part of hiking is very simple, eating ramyeon on the mountain. I think ramyeon tastes the most delicious when you eat it during a hike. I'm sure everyone who enjoys mountain hiking agrees with me. That sounds very natural. And David, there is actually a real reason why ramyeon tastes so good on a mountain. When people hike, the body uses a lot of energy, the air is cooler, people become hungry, so salty, hot food like ramyeon tastes much better than usual. Many hikers in Korea say the same thing. Let me teach you one very natural expression you can use. Food always tastes better after a hike. Example, ramyeon tastes 10 times better after a long hike. That is a very native-like sentence. Now, I'm curious, David, when you eat ramyeon on the mountain, do you usually eat it at the summit after reaching the top or at a mountain shelter during the hike? Tell me your style. I'm listening.
Listen to me very carefully. I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Ramen tastes 10 times better than a long, after a long hike. Ramen tastes 10 times better. Ramen tastes 10 times better. 10 times better. I'm telling you. It's 10 times better after a long hike. It tastes, it tastes, it tastes, it tastes, it tastes, it tastes, it tastes 10 times better after a long hike. Food always, food always tastes better after a hike. In the mountain, and in the top of the mountain. Ramen tastes 10 times better in the top of mountain. What to say about this? Does this make sense?
David, yes, your idea is exactly right, and hikers would absolutely agree with you. Ramyeon really does taste 10 times better after a long hike. Your sentences were already clear. Let me just help you smooth a few small parts so they sound more natural. First, this expression, you said, it is very agreeably. In English, we usually say, I completely agree, or I couldn't agree more. You actually said, I couldn't agree more, which is perfect. Now let's polish your main sentence. You said, ramen tastes 10 times better in the top of the mountain. The correct preposition is at, not in. So the natural sentence is, ramyeon tastes 10 times better at the top of the mountain. Very natural. Another good version, ramyeon tastes 10 times better after a long hike, especially at the top of the mountain. That sounds very smooth. Um, Let me show you a clean version of what you were trying to say. I completely agree with you. Ramyeon tastes 10 times better after a long hike. Food always tastes better after hiking, especially when you eat it at the top of the mountain. That sounds very natural English. And David, what you said actually reminds many Koreans of a famous hiking experience, eating ramyeon with a small gas stove at the summit. It's almost a culture among Korean hikers. Now, I want to ask you something interesting. When you eat ramyeon on the mountain, do you prefer very spicy ramyeon or mild ramyeon? And do you ever add things like egg, kimchi, rice? Tell me your mountain ramyeon style.
Oh my God, oh my God. How did you know? Why why you assume I like, I eat ramen? I usually eat ramen with kimchi or something. I'm asking you because I'm a little bit surprised because you know the Korean hiking style very much. How did you know that? Oh my God. Oh my God, speedy. Ramen. I couldn't agree more. Ramen tastes 10 times better after a long hike. Food always tastes better after hiking, especially when I eat it at the top of the mountain. Especially when I eat that at the top of the mountain, at the top of the mountain, at the top of the mountain, at the top of the mountain. And I want, I want you to remind in Korean mountain, mountain hiker could not use gas stove at the mountain. I think you must know about this rule because fire in the mountain is very, 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 very dangerous. Do you agree with that? And to answer your question, hang on a second. Let me remind myself again. I usually, I usually, I mean, my favorite style is mild ramen, not very spicy ramen. I like, simply, I can say I like 진라면, 순한 맛, not a 매운맛 in Korean. Do you understand? In Korea, people easily divided into two types. 진라면 매운맛, 진라면 순한 맛. Do you understand?
David, I understand you perfectly. And yes, I know exactly what you mean about chinramen, sunanmat versus beummat. In Korea, people really do divide into those two camps. First, let me answer your question. You asked how I knew about ramyeon on the mountain. It's because hiking culture in Korea is quite famous. Many hikers talk about things like eating ramyeon at the summit, bringing kimchi, enjoying hot soup after a long climb. So when you mentioned hiking, ramyeon was an easy guess. But you are absolutely right about something important. Many mountains in Korea do not allow gas stoves anymore because of fire risk. That's a very important safety rule. Now, let me help you polish a few sentences from what you said. You said, open quote, why you assumed I eat ramyeon, close quote. A more natural way is, how did you know I eat ramyeon when I hike? Or how did you know I like ramyeon when I go hiking? You also said, open quote, it's pity, close quote. In English, we usually say, that's a pity. For example, that's a pity because ramyeon tastes great on the mountain. Now, your main sentence was very good. Ramyeon tastes 10 times better after a long hike. Perfect. You also said, open quote, food already tastes better after hiking, close quote. The natural word is always not already. So the sentence becomes, food always tastes better after hiking. Here's a clean, natural version of what you explained. I usually eat ramyeon with kimchi when I go hiking. I prefer mild ramyeon, not spicy ramyeon. My favorite is jin ramyeon mild flavor. In Korea, people often divide into two groups, those who like jin ramyeon spicy and those who like jin ramyeon mild. That sounds very natural. Now, one very small pronunciation tip for you. Instead of saying a jjamyeon, you can say jin ramyeon, the mild one. Example, my favorite is jin ramyeon, the mild one. David, now I'm curious about something. When you go hiking in Korea, do you usually go alone with friends, with your family? Which style do you prefer?
Okay, GPT, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. GPT. Hang on a second, hang on a
Hey,
second.
David, it's okay. No need to apologize, really. When people practice speaking a lot like you're doing, sometimes the mind gets a little overloaded. That happens to everyone learning a language. So saying I'm sorry isn't necessary here. A very natural thing you could say instead is, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a moment. Or simply, sorry, give me a second. Those are very common in conversations. And by the way, your English just now was quite clear. You explained Korean hiking culture, ramyeon preferences, jinramen sunan mat, mountain safety rules. That's actually complex content, not simple English. So if you paused or got mixed up a bit, that's completely normal. Let's reset for a moment. You could just continue like this. Anyway, as I was saying, I prefer jin ramyeon, the mild one. Or anyway, let me continue. Take a breath, David. When you're ready, keep going.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's keep on going. GPT, since this is my speaking practice session, let me speak aloud one more time, based on your suggestion, before answer your question. I usually eat ramen with kimchi. I usually eat ramen with kimchi when I go hiking. I prefer mild ramen. Not spice ramen. My favorite is jinramen, mild flavor. My favorite is jinramen, mild flavor. In Korea, people often divide into two groups. Those who like those who like jinramen spicy and those who like jinramen mild. GPT. What does the word flavor means in this context? Flavor. Flavor. My favorite is a jinramen mild flavor. What does that mean? Flavor.
David, great question. And your sentence was very clear. Nice repetition again. Let me explain the word flavor. In this context, flavor means the taste or type of taste of food. So when we say jin ramyun mild flavor, it means the mild tasting version of jin ramyun. Not spicy, not strong, just mild in taste. For example, mild flavor, not spicy, gentle taste, spicy flavor, hot, strong taste. In Korean terms, mild flavor sunan mat, spicy flavor meun mat. So your sentence is correct. My favorite is jin ramyun mild flavor. But in everyday English, people might say it a little more simply. My favorite is jin ramyun, the mild one. I like the mild version of jin ramyun. Both sound very natural. Here are a few examples of flavor in other foods. Chicken flavor ramyun, beef flavor soup, vanilla flavor ice cream. In all these cases, flavor equals the taste type. Let me give you one very natural sentence you can practice. I prefer mild flavors because I don't like very spicy food. Now, David, I'm curious about something else. Since you like mild ramyeon, when you eat ramyeon on the mountain, do you ever add something like an egg or rice? Many Korean hikers add rice to the soup at the end. Do you do that too?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you please speak a little bit more slowly? Again?
Of course, David. I will speak more slowly, no problem. Let me explain the word flavor again. Flavor means the taste of food. For example, mild flavor, not spicy, soft taste. Spicy flavor, hot, strong taste. In Korean terms, mild flavor equals sunan mat, spicy flavor equals beun mat. So when you say my favorite is jin ramyeon mild flavor, it means my favorite is jin ramyeon with a mild taste. But in daily English, people often say it like this. My favorite is jin ramyeon, the mild one, or I prefer the mild version of jin ramyeon. Both are very natural sentences. Let me say one practice sentence slowly. I prefer mild flavors because I don't like very spicy food. You can try repeating that. David, when you eat ramyun on the mountain, do you ever add an egg or rice? Some hikers add rice to the soup at the end.
Let me take a second. Let me take a second, GPT. GPT, you know what? It's very hard to eat rice, just rice at the mountain, because I told you it's highly prohibited to use gas stove, a little gas stove at the mountain. So mountain hiker usually prepare kimbap because it's very simple and taste.
David, I understand you. Your explanation is very clear. Let me help you smooth a few expressions so it sounds more natural. First, one small correction. You said, let me take a second. That is understandable, but native speakers usually say, give me a second, or
Give
let me
me a
think for a
second.
second.
Give
Both
me a
are very
second.
natural.
Give me a
Now, let's
second.
polish your main explanation. You said, open quote,
Give
it's
me a
very hard to
second.
eat rice at the mountain, close quote. In
Give me a
English, we usually
second.
say on the mountain or while hiking. So a natural sentence would be, it's very hard to eat rice on the mountain.
Give me a second.
You also said, open quote, it's highly prohibited to use gas stove, close quote. A smoother way is, it is strictly prohibited to use gas stoves on the mountain, or using gas stoves on the mountain is strictly prohibited. Very natural. Now let me show you a clean version of what you were explaining. You could say it like this. Give me a second. It's actually very difficult to eat rice on the mountain because using gas stoves is strictly prohibited. That's why hikers usually prepare gimbap. It's simple, easy to carry, and easy to eat while hiking. That sounds very natural English. And David, you are absolutely right. In Korea, hikers often bring gimbap, snacks, ramyeon at mountain shelters, coffee, and a thermos. Gimbap is popular because it is light, simple, and convenient. Now, I'm curious about something. When you go hiking and bring gimbap, what kind of gimbap do you like most? For example, classic vegetable gimbap tuna, gimbap bulgogi gimbap. Which one is your favorite?
My favorite is, I'm telling you, my favorite is common gimbap, normal gimbap, simple gimbap. The gimbap not contain any too much substance, too much additional. I mean, I mean, exceptional or extra or additional things in the gimbap. Do you understand? How can I express this context in English naturally?
David, I understand exactly what you mean. Like you're talking about simple, classic gimbap, not the fancy ones with many extra ingredients. Your idea is very clear. Let me help you express
Ingredients.
it naturally in
Many
English.
extra
First, instead of
ingredients.
saying
Many
common
extra
gimbap or normal
ingredients.
gimbap, native speakers usually say simple gimbap or basic gimbap. For
Basic
example,
gimbap,
my
simple
favorite is
gimbap,
simple gimbap. Very
classic
natural.
gimbap.
Now, about this part, you
Too
said,
much
open quote, the
ingredients.
gimbap does not
Too
contain too
much.
much additional things. Close quote. A smoother way would be, I prefer gimbap without too many extra ingredients, or I like simple gimbap without too many fillings. The word fillings is very useful here, and it means the ingredients inside. For example, tuna filling, vegetable filling, beef filling. So your idea could sound like this. My favorite is simple gimbap. I prefer gimbap without too many extra ingredients. Just basic fillings are enough for me. That sounds very natural. You could also say, I like the classic style of gimbap. That means traditional gimbap. Let me give you one very natural sentence you can remember. I prefer simple gimbap with basic fillings. That sentence sounds very natural in English. David, one more interesting question for you. When you eat gimbap during hiking, which part do you enjoy more?
여보세요?
Eating while resting halfway up the mountain
예,
or
예.
eating at the top after reaching the summit? Which moment feels better for you?
예, 예. 수정해놨습니다.
David,
아,
알겠습니다.
예.
예, 수정해놨습니다.
알겠습니다.
라고 하셨네요. 이 표현을 영어로 자연스럽게 말하면 몇 가지 방법이 있습니다. 가장 간단하게는 Yes, I've corrected it 또는 Yes, I've updated it 상황에 따라 이렇게도 말할 수 있습니다. Yes, I've made the correction. Yes, I've fixed it. 예를 들어 회의나 업무 상황에선 이렇게 말할 수 있습니다. Yes, I've updated it as you suggested. 말씀해 주신 대로 수정했습니다. 또는 Yes, I've already corrected it.
No, GPT. I'm sorry. Uh, it's mistake. It's mistake. My supervisor, my team leader just called me to ask something, so I needed to answer that question. So I used in Korean to when I answer when in that call. So it's not to you. It's not to you. So let's get back to my English voice mode session. Let's get back to my English practice session again.
No problem at all, David. That makes perfect sense. When your supervisor calls, of course, you have to answer. No need to apologize. That happens in real life. Let me just polish one small thing from what you said so you can keep a natural expression. You said, it mistake. It mistake. A natural way would be,
It's
that was a
mistake.
mistake. Or,
That
sorry, that
was
message
mistake.
wasn't for you. For example,
That,
you could say, sorry, that message wasn't for you. My supervisor just called me, so I had to answer him in Korean. That sounds very natural. Your other sentence was already good. So let's get back to my English practice. Very natural. People say that often. You could also say, let's get back to my speaking practice, or let's continue my English practice session. Both are excellent. All right, David, since this is your voice practice session, it's your turn again. You were talking about hiking and gimbap. You said you like simple gimbap with basic fillings. Let's continue from there. You could say something like, when I go hiking, I usually bring simple gimbap and eat it while resting on the mountain. Take your time.
okay, GPT. GPT, I have something to tell you. Honestly speaking, I need to go my desk again. I need to go my desk immediately because my supervisor, my team leader want to modify modify uh, one file before he join the important meeting.
David, I understand. Work comes first, no problem. Let me help you polish your sentence so it sounds natural in English. You said, open quote, I need to go to my desk immediately because my supervisor wants to modify one file before he joined the important meeting. Close quote. A smoother and more natural way would be, I need to go back to my desk now because my supervisor wants to modify a file before he joins an important meeting. A couple of small improvements. Go back to my desk sounds more natural than go to my desk in this situation. A file, we usually say a file, not one file, before he joins an important meeting, correct tense. You could also say it even more naturally like this. I need to go back to my desk now. My supervisor asked me to modify a file before his meeting. That sounds very natural in a workplace. David, your sentence was already understandable. You just needed a few small adjustments. All right, go handle your work. You can say something like this when leaving. I need to get back to work now. Let's continue next time. Good luck with the file, David. We'll continue your English speaking session later. Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Okay, bye for now. GPT, have a great one. Bye for now.
All right, David. Got it. Your sentence was already good, just one small improvement. You
Okay, can you hear me loud and clear?
Okay, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, David, I can hear you loud and clear. Your sentence was already perfect. Can you hear me okay? That is very natural English. People also say, can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me all right? All of these mean the same thing. If you want a slightly fuller version, you could say, hey, can you hear me okay now? So everything is good on my side. Go ahead, David. I'm listening. What would you like to talk about next?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, David, I can hear you clearly. Just a small note about the name you said. You asked, can you hear me now, Dean Cleveland? That sentence is grammatically fine, but Dean Cleveland sounds like you are calling someone by a person's name or title, like a university dean. So it might sound a little unusual in normal conversation unless that is actually the person's name. If you simply want to check the audio, people usually say, can you hear me now? Can you hear me clearly now? Can you hear me okay now? Those are the most natural. So your best version would be, can you hear me clearly now? And yes, I can hear you just fine.